Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to be taking a quick look at the TMC reef pump DC 2000 and see what it's all about, see how good it is, see if it's any quieter than the junk I've got on this tank behind me. And in this video we're going to be looking at this, the tank, and what's in it. So yeah, the tank behind me was a bit of a recent bargain. I got it at the start of, or about halfway through the first lockdown. So I've had it for about 4 months now, 5 months. And it's 900 by 45 by 45. And it's a really nice tank. It's got a corner weir, which goes down to the sump, gloss black, push open cupboards. So it's a really nice tank and a proper bargain. Now I needed something a little bit bigger, perhaps I was going to use for you know, a year or so for my grow out tank for the bichers. So in here I've got 4 saddled bichers at the minute. There was an albino bicher with them, but when I added my 4th saddled bicher it came a lot bigger than the others, and literally anything now that goes in there that's even as much as a millimetre smaller than him, he will eat it. So I've now got another new tank over there. I'll quickly show you in a bit, which has got 2 albino bichers, an ornate bicher and a shovel-nosed catfish in. Now obviously this is just a temporary setup for these guys. They're not going to stay in there very long. Once they've got you know, maybe 30 centimetres or so, they get moved over to a 7-foot custom tank that I'm having built, especially for some of my monster fish. So yeah, but however, it was a cheap tank. It's pretty much pristine, not a scratch on the glass. The stand is perfect, bit of rust on the hinges, but you'd expect that. And the sump's really good, good layout, good size, so couldn't really complain. However, the return pump that came with this tank is well, it does the job, it's doing what it needs to do. However, you know, with all second-hand tanks, the rubber feet were missing, so it sort of vibrates on the bottom of the sump. You probably can't hear too much of the vibration now because I've got the mic on and it's cutting out some of that sound, but yeah, it's quite noisy. This is just like a junk room slash fish room, so you know, the noise doesn't matter too much, but when I'm out here on the laptop or whatever, it'd be nice to be able to hear myself think. So I wanted to change that over. It doesn't need changing, there's nothing wrong with it, it works, it's just noisy. And then I wanted to have a go with the TMC reef pump. Now this is the 2000 because at the moment the return pump on there is 2000 litres per hour, so I just thought I'd do a direct 2 for 2. These are controllable though, so I could have gone for something bigger and obviously just reduced the flow and things like that, but no, this will do for now. It's going to be quieter, it's got the rubber feet, and I want to see what they're all about because I've always liked TMC stuff. I've had a lot of their lighting in the past, you know, the aqua rays and things. So let's give their pump a go. What we're going to do now is we'll get down and have a quick look at what's in the box, and then we'll look at taking out the old one and installing this and see what we think. So let's get to it. Okay guys, just before we get into it, a couple of the bichers come out to say hello. These are 2 of the smaller ones. I've got one in there that we've called Fred, and basically it's my mother-in-law's ex. Was called Fred, and he was a bit of an arsehole. And yeah, so is this very large bicher. He's at the back at the moment. I don't know if we'll be able to see him. Well, you can just see him. There's his head. You'll see the size difference in his head once it focuses. There we go. So yeah, I mean, that's big old Fred. His tails comes out just behind the bogwood there. But these guys here are not much smaller, they're just less chunky and less aggressive. But yeah, so I've got 4 in there. And these are the saddled ones. yeah, got lots of live plants in there doing some of the work, keeping the nutrients in check and some of the heavy metals. It just makes maintenance a lot easier. As you can see, the tank is pretty much immaculate. I do very little maintenance on this one. I siphon out uneaten food once a day and give it a quick spruce. That was done this morning. But I've put lots of live plant in there just to help keep the water quality in check. I've got a cat running around the room. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, there's 4 in there and you can only see 2. There's plenty of room for them in there, and it'll be fine for a few months just so they put on a bit of size before they go into the bigger tank. But I need the other fish to grow up a little bit first as well, because I want them all to go in together. But they're just not getting on. So the big guy in there called Fred, he will eat just about anyone and anything. I don't think we'll be able to see the what was his tank mates. Oh, we can. There's the albino that was in with him, who is pretty chunky to be fair, but he's just, sorry, focusing on this is rubbish. But yeah, he's just slightly too small still, which is not good when you consider the other bichers I've got in there. I don't know if I'll be able to find them. Yeah, there's one albino in there who is over half the size, well, yeah, half the size of that guy at the back. See if I can get a torch on him. Yeah, so he's absolutely tiny in comparison to the larger one. And as I say, I've also got a very, very small shovel nose, tiger shovel nose in there, and also the smallest ornate bicher I've ever seen in my life. He tends to hang around over here, but he's not there. The albino's having a bit of a snack. Yeah, really cool fish, but that's not what we're here for. Let's get on with the pump. So let's start with what's in the box. You get obviously instruction book, pretty standard. Let's zoom out a bit. Some sticky pads and also some rubber feet. Power supply. The other plug for the power supply. The pump itself, which is absolutely tiny. Really, when you think of how big the one we're about to take out is. Exactly the same flow, but anyway, pretty cool design as well. And this is the control unit for it. You've obviously got your power in and also the plug out for the pump. And the great thing is it also comes with 2 sizes of hose tail. So you just take it off. It was packed like that. But you've got the 16 and I believe it's the 22. Could be wrong. It says on the box somewhere 115 and 120. So 15 mil, 20 mil. Yeah, brilliant. I think I'm going to need the 20 on this one. So all we do is obviously push that on, screw it down, without cross-threading it. And yeah, we're good. Slides off the mounting plate. Obviously perfect for maintenance. To be fair, we're probably going to want that off for a minute anyway, because we need to put the rubber feet on. So we'll do that quick. I think the the 3M sticky pads here are going to be for mounting your control onto the side of the cabinet or wherever. Right, so you actually get a few spare feet as well, which is always handy, and they just pop on. Very similar to if you were putting them on a heater or a filter. Just put it in the big bit and slide it up to the small bit, which locks it in place. And then you get two spares. Now I just need to slide this back in, like so. And now it's on nice rubber feet. It's ready to go. But what we need to do is very quickly do a couple of things with the old one. You need to take the old pump out. You just need to plug these in. And then there's a little waterproof collar, or watertight collar that comes down. You screw that. So that's the bit that goes to the pump, goes in the control box, and then you've just got a standard inlet there. Push that in nice and tight. That's your power supply. And now we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out the foam, and we can go from there. But let's have a quick look at the sump first, shall we? So this is my current sump setup. I've got the top-up reservoir there. That's a TMC auto top-up, and that's just plain RO in there, because obviously this is a tropical tank. And I suppose I didn't really need the auto top-up, but if you've got it, may as well use it. But as you can see, the water level does drop quite a bit, because it's not actually a full closed top. There's plenty of evaporation, and also evaporation from here. I do have a light in there that's running 24/7 to grow all the Java moss. It's full with about 6 kilos, between 6 and 10 kilos anyway, of alpha grog. The old ceramic media. There's a bag of carbon in there. When I get my plants, I often take the sponge off and put in there just to give a top up on the bacteria. And there's some other media in there as well, some ceramic blocks from an old filter, and a small bed of sand in the bottom there. It obviously overflows. Let's turn that around, down the pipe there, and there's filter floss, in the chamber where it comes in. It then overflows into this main section where bacteria was hopefully living, and then out through the return it goes through quite a lot of filter floss, and I've also got fine and coarse sponges and a carbon infused sponge in there as well. And if I just take the camera off for a minute, I'm also growing some floating plants in there, which are really cool. They're actually better seen in my suck it and see tank. Now I actually call this my suck it and see tank because I don't really do a great deal with this, as you can probably tell. I've got cherry barbs that are breeding like crazy in there, and some black coolie loach, salt and pepper cories. But I mean, this tank is really taking off with the older. I've got two types in there. I've got Amazon frog bit and Zola moss. It's not going to focus very well on that. Let's go and check the other tank quick. So that's a bit better. So yeah, you've got this pink stuff, which is the Zola moss, and the green stuff's Amazon frog bit. I wanted something anyway for it's really going to let the roots grow down, which this does quite nicely. Alright, so I've turned the return off. Now what I've done is pointed the return jet out of the water, so there's no siphoning. Now the pump's off. Basically it's all settled down now. You can hear it's not coming over anymore. I'm going to grab all this out. I've turned the pump off for two reasons. Obviously, one, you can't change it when it's full, and it's running, and 2, it's going to stop the pump picking up all the crap that I'm disturbing now, and it's not going to pump it straight into the tank. So when I replace the pump over in a minute, what I'll actually do is I'll give it a few minutes before I turn it on, just so that there's it reduces the amount of rubbish that gets sucked up into the tank. Right, so there we go. Now you're not going to be able to see much because of the reflection, but that's the old pump, so I'm just going to grab it out. It's an old Aqua 1 pump. Caught my watch. Yeah, so it's just an old Aqua 1, 2000 litre per hour, and as you can see it's got no rubber feet, so it was just knocking and vibrating in the water, which was annoying me. So now what I'm going to do is just quickly get the wires out, get the wires in for the TMC pump, and then we'll see what we think. That was a bit more of a bugger than I thought it was. I had to take plugs off and all sorts. I must have pushed the fish tank back after I installed it slightly, but couldn't get the plug out. But just check out the size difference. You know, that is so much smaller. They're both the same output, but the TMC one is absolutely tiny in comparison. So let's get that out of the way. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much ready to go, to be fair. I've just need to plug it in. I've got the control box here. I've put the 3M sticky pad on the back, so screwing into the cabinet. And I'm just going to install that just here on the side of the aquarium, just below the height of the sump, so if it was to fall off it doesn't go in the sump. So I'll show you that. There we go. I don't know what is that with this camera, not focusing properly. There we go. So yeah, that's all installed now. I just need to plumb it in, which we do now, and we're good to go. So I've got the 20mm hose tail on that, but I think this tubing is 22. I mean, it fits on there and it holds it, but it's not very tight. So what I'm going to do is just use a clip as well, just so I know it's completely on there. It's not going to come off. I do prefer these ones with the keys. This makes life so much easier rather than trying to get a screwdriver on it. And remember, you just want it tight, you don't want it to over tighten it and crack the plastic. See, that's not going anywhere. Could do with that going on a bit further. And there we go. So now it's just literally a case. Let's work out which way around I want it. Dropping that back in. As I say, now I've got rubber feet. I'm hoping that's going to make a difference. I'm going to put these foams back in just to keep it away from the wall of the sump. I mean, I don't need this many foam pads, but I had them laying around and I just thought, well, they may as well go in there. They don't do a great deal. Obviously the filter floss is a winner in my eyes all the time. So I'm going to put that back in. Just give it a rinse, some old aquarium water in here. Don't necessarily need it. All the red stuff you'll see is just sand when I siphon out, because I quite like to, when I'm siphoning out sort of the uneaten food and that, I don't really need to do a water change as such. And to be fair, I very rarely do water changes, but what I do is just put a net on the sump, siphon the crap out, and the water stays within the system. I'm not having to do water changes, which is ideal. So yes, that is that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the inlet back in the water, plug it in, and we'll see how quiet and how well it performs. Alright, so I'm just going to plug it back in. Alright, so it's plugged in. I've got some bubbles coming out of there. Now, oh my god, that is running, believe it or not. So if you can see the crud coming out the inlet, look, that is blowing, and it makes no noise at all. I'm a little bit amazed by that. I thought it wasn't even on yet. So I do want this running at pretty much full. Just waiting for the sump to kick back in. That might be why I'm a bit surprised on how quiet it is, because the water level's just evening out now. Here comes the water again. But the pump itself is silent, it's not making any noise at all. So I just need to work out what all these numbers mean. Right, so right, okay. Because I've never had this before, I had to quickly work out what everything meant. So if we look at the controller, now I don't know if you can make out the LCD screen currently says C, which is mode constant. Okay, so that's constant, and numbers refer to the speed. You can go up to C20, which is constant 20, and 20 would be the full 2,000 litres per hour, so full speed basically. I'll probably have it at around 17. Yeah, there's plenty of flow in the actual tank, which has gone super cloudy now, which I expected. But as you can see, there's lots of debris moving around. All the plants are moving, and there's debris moving around by the sand, so the flow is pretty much spot on. I will do a top up in a minute because the water levels dropped slightly because of all that. But yeah, that is impressive. I honestly thought the pump wasn't running. It's that quiet. So if you took away the noise of the overflow, the pump is completely silent. I think I'm in love with a new pump. Is that even possible? And obviously if you want it to feed, you press the feed mode and it shuts the pump off for, I think it's 10 minutes. Yeah, pauses pump operation for 10 minutes. So yeah, as I say, at the moment it's on C17, which is mode constant, and speed of 17. So it's probably, if you want to work out, it's a 2,000 litre per hour pump. C17 is probably a constant 1,700 litres an hour. Just using a bit of logic there, but yeah, I could be wrong, but yeah. So constant 17 is what I've got it set at, which is more than enough, as you can see. So that is the TMC reef pump DC 2000. I am blown away by how quiet this thing is. If I couldn't see water moving, I would assume that that pump is off. But there's definitely water movement down there, and definitely water movement up in the tank. Brilliant. Pretty happy with that. Let's wrap this up. And look, the little shovel nose has shown up. He is tiny. Can't wait for him to be a metre long beast. Got a long way to go, but he'll get there quick. So then guys, that was the TMC reef pump, the DC 2000 on this particular tank. And yeah, blown away by just how quiet, silent running this thing is. As I say, a couple of times there I had to check to make sure it wasn't in feed mode or it was even running at all. So yeah, definitely quieter. Yeah, big difference. Small size, big performance, can't go wrong. I think the 2000 is about £58 in the UK, and the smaller one, there's a 1000, that's about 45. So great value for money as well. When I'm done with this tank and the bichers go into the large 7 foot by 3 foot by 2 foot tank, along with the other bichers, the catfish, that sort of thing. I've also got the silver arowana and the mabu puffer. They're all going to go in there. When that happens, this tank will be a reef tank or some sort of fish only tank, maybe get some banded cat sharks, sort of eggs, that sort of thing. Something a bit exciting. That's what this channel is going to be about, all the oddball stuff, the exciting, the rare, the wonderful, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the content I put out. If you give the video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below to what you think of the pump, what other pumps are you using, what do you think is the best, and make sure you subscribe. At the moment I've got 1 subscriber, so hi Mr. 1 subscriber. I've got a long journey to go. You've just seen the small catfish. I'd love to come back in 4 or 5 months time when he's a lot bigger and you guys sort of join me on the journey of watching my fish grow. You know, I've got the mabu puffer, which I've shown on the previous video I put up. I know I've got a long way to come with sort of getting my kit together, building the fish room out, but I thought if you guys come along that journey with me, make it more interesting. And yeah, I've got some exciting stuff planned and lots of big plans as well. Some new fish to be added soon and things like that. So if you're interested in watching the journey, watching these fish grow, watching how I change the fish room about and the monster tanks I've got planned, then by all means subscribe. Even if you just like watching weird and wonderful fish, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Get the channel out there, help me grow it. I'll be forever grateful, and I will see you guys on the next video.